De acuerdo a su relato, Ron Noble fue llevado al interior de una nave junto a dos de sus amigos, Mark Bojack y David Jamal, en Orlando, Florida. Ron pudo visualizar cómo fue colocado en el interior de su cuerpo, en su muñeca izquierda, un objeto. No recordó haber sufrido dolor ni haber visto sangre, pero pudo recordar a los extraños seres que lo hicieron. Ron Noble y sus amigos olvidaron el incidente, hasta que Ron encontró que tenía un extraño objeto en su cuerpo, y así acudió al especialista, el Dr. Roger Lear, quien con la ayuda de expertos médicos pudo extraer el implante. Fue muy difícil su extracción, ya que parecía moverse y alejarse de los instrumentos médicos. Finalmente el objeto fue extraído y analizado. Se encontraron nanotubos de carbono, además de que el tejido biológico estaba adherido al metal. El implante fue analizado durante algunas semanas. Jaime Maussan regresó al consultorio del Dr. Roger Lear y del químico Stephen Colburn para conocer los resultados. Stephen Colburn es científico químico de materiales con 20 años de experiencia en la industria y se ha especializado en la tecnología de los nanotubos de carbono. Ha sido capaz de analizar a profundidad los implantes extraídos por Roger Lear.
And what is your background?
I'm a material scientist and I have a degree in chemistry. And I'm working on a carbon nanotube project at my place of employment right now, and it's quite a synchronicity that these implants turned out to have carbon nanotubes contained within them, because that's what I'm working on professionally. Well, we found that many of the implants contain carbon nanotubes. I found that a very significant finding, because carbon nanotubes are now on the cutting edge of nanotechnology on Earth. And they're useful for electronics, among other things. So the fact that these implants contain carbon nanotubes is very significant. They may use carbon nanotube conductors in electronics. Metallic carbon nanotubes are among the best conductors on Earth, and the semiconducting variety of carbon nanotubes would be useful in extremely small atomic scale electronics, and I believe that's what these devices utilize for their function.
Did you find more elements there?
Yeah, the body, the main body of the device, the metallic portions were composed of what appeared to be meteoric iron, and there were traces of iridium and other precious metals that are commonly found in nickel iron meteorites. If I had if I knew for sure that it was part of a meteorite, I would say it came from a class of meteorites called hexahedrites that are low nickel. And if these aliens are really making these things, then nickel iron meteorites would be a good raw material. It would be very cheap for them, since they have cheap space travel. Obviously.
Could these devices be made on Earth?
I don't think so. I think the technology involved is at least 100 years ahead of anything that we currently have. It's a slight possibility that the secret government, who are always several decades ahead of commercial technology, may have made these devices, but personally I doubt it. I think that these devices were made off-planet by an advanced race of some kind.
And what is the function of these things?
Well, that's speculation at this point, but according to abductee reports, it's likely that these devices have many functions, including tracking, monitoring the health of the subject, and perhaps relaying other forms of data to the aliens, such as what the subject is seeing and hearing in real time. That brain implant that Whitley Strieber described in Communion, that the small BB-shaped object that they've been reported to put up people's noses into the brain, is said to have that sort of a function, where it enables them to hear and see what the subject is hearing and seeing in real time.
It means that we are broadcasting to them what is happening to us?
Yes, if that's true, then it would convert the subject into a walking bug.
Esta tecnología podría representar un gran avance para la humanidad, tecnología que, de acuerdo al químico Stephen Colburn, se encuentra al menos 100 años delante de la tecnología de los seres humanos.
Well, I think that we could be on the cusp of a brand new age. For one thing, I think that these devices are powered by zero-point energy. In other words, they extract the tremendous energy of the quantum vacuum to power their activities. These radio signals that the devices are giving off could be quite powerful in the scalar range. They're most likely not normal electromagnetic emissions. They're a type of emission called a scalar electromagnetic wave that's hard to detect with instruments that we normally use. And if that's the case, if they are broadcasting in the scalar bands, then the signals could be quite powerful, perhaps as powerful as several hundred watts. And in order to extract that, to utilize that sort of energy, to broadcast that sort of energy, the devices would have to be powered by zero-point energy. That's the only source of power that would be powerful enough to do that without using nuclear energy, and the devices are not radioactive, so that's clearly not the case. Dr. Kuntz, an associate of ours, has also said that several of the frequencies that were found in the implant that was extracted from the last subject were frequencies that could be utilized to extract zero-point energy. So it's highly suggestive in that way.
Nos encontramos entonces con el Dr. Roger Leir, quien estaba realmente asombrado con los resultados. Este sería el 16º y último implante que extraería.
Yes, it is amazing, and when I stop and think about it, it almost leaves me speechless. This is something brand new, and this is the judicious use of academic science. And when you find, a team of scientists that will come forth and, look at this material and look at what it is, and then is able to theorize, something about it, like has been done here, has never been done before. Wouldn't cut in any possible means with any machine or tool, and the files that they used, the hardest file couldn't even make a groove in it. There is no metal known as far as we know. Of course, I have to clarify that by saying even academic science doesn't know what the black projects are doing. So at least what we do know, we know of no such material that is as hard as this. Well, because when he heard and saw what happened when the object could not be cut, although we didn't fill him in on a lot of the background, he was just inherently afraid. So he set the laser to run on an automatic basis and then just backed away across the room, not knowing what was going to happen. The object is covered with a biological membrane, very similar to what we've seen in the other 15 cases. And in the other cases, we've found that there may be even a phase, let's call it a phase, where inorganic material becomes organic material, or that organic material is growing into inorganic material. So one or the other, and this is consistent with the findings that we found in the other objects. Also, by looking at this under the light microscope, we were able to see details like bubbles, and these bubbles turned out to be oil, which we have seen before. But in this instance, we were able to do a good analysis of this oily material and found out, what kind of oil it is and the substance that it contains. And that might have give us a reason why the body doesn't reject these objects, or why you get a foreign object inside and then there's no infection. The oil apparently has the ability to prevent infection or to subdue the body's immune system so that the body doesn't reject it, because we find no rejection reaction and no inflammation in any of these cases. First time based on what we have learned from the science, one of our very brave team members, Robert Kuntz, who is a PhD in nuclear physics, has used or constructed a formula, let's say, based on the decay